Lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips? Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time? That's from the Diddy Freak Off Park.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Everyone's been watching Diddy's trial like it's the biggest show in town. But out of nowhere, Usher steps in with shockers that could turn the whole thing on its head. This ain't some light shade or sneak dices. Sources say Usher came through with actual recordings that might blow Diddy's whole cover. And the craziest part? Word is, Diddy did Usher so dirty behind closed doors. Dude allegedly ended up in a hospital after all went left. Now, let's set the record straight. Everything you're about to hear is coming from leaked testimonies, reports, and all kind of wild talk online. If this flips what you thought you knew, that's on the info out there. I'm just telling you what's already circling. The buzz is Usher stayed quiet for years, locked down by hush deals, NDAs, and heavy pressure from all sides. But now he's fed up. Word is, he's finally ready to tell it all, and he's bringing the proof with him. Yeah, he's got the receipts. We're talking phone calls, secret recordings, and voice memos going all the way back to 2004. That's 2 whole decades of buried drama, and now Usher's ready to unleash everything he's kept locked up. As Diddy's trial get hotter, and more celebs start getting dragged into court. Don't be surprised if Usher spills it all. Word on the street is, he didn't just see what went down, he lived through it. Way before Cassie or anybody else, Usher was already caught up in the madness. And this ain't about clout or revenge. It's about straight-up survival. Allegedly, Usher got sucked into chaos as a teen, moved into Diddy's house when he was just 14 years old. That's when he started seeing the real deal. Wild parties, weird setups with cameras everywhere. And those auditions that happened behind locked doors, he wasn't just watching, he was caught in it. And now he could be the one to blow the lid off everything. Let's rewind real quick. Usher was only 13 or 14 when he got signed to LaFace Records by L.A. Reid. The kid had the voice, the image, the future locked in. But instead of protecting him, Reid made a shocking call. He sent Usher to live with Sean Puffy Combs, who already had a rep as the craziest party boss in the game.
Because it was one of the highlights in my career. At 14 years old, this young guy comes walking into my office, and he starts singing. And I stop him early and say, wait a minute, hold, this is too good. I need to go get some girls. So I bring all the girls from the office in. And Usher drops down on one knee and starts singing it to the prettiest girl in the room and starts seducing her with his eyes. He's 14. Yeah. And he has no fear, no anxiety, no nervousness. And he goes in and he nails it. And I'm like, okay, thank you, and welcome to LaFace Records.
Even L.A. Reid later came clean. He wasn't sure if sending Usher to stay with Diddy was a gutsy move or just straight up reckless. But what really went down in that apartment? That's where the story takes a dark turn. One insider swears Usher ended up in a hospital after something wild happened in that very spot. Yeah, no joke. People who were deep in the Harlem scene back then say Diddy allegedly crossed a major line, something so serious it sent Usher straight to the ER AT first. When folks started whispering, no one dared say any names, but the buzz was heavy. Someone got hurt bad, like bleeding bad. And this was just gossip off the street. This is what people were saying before they even figured out who it was. Turns out, the person everyone was talking about, it was Usher.
I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher?
Back then, Usher didn't even fully understand what he was getting thrown into the IN1 interview. He talked about being sent to Puffy's so-called flavor camp at just 13, and check this out. He ended up living with him for a whole year. That's right, a full year in that wild, grown-up environment while barely a teen, surrounded by stuff no kid should ever have to witness.
On Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor
some...
Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
But that was just the beginning. Later on, when Usher got asked what life was really like inside Diddy's house, he didn't spill every detail, but he definitely didn't stay quiet either. He said the place was always filled with women, and the vibe, straight up wild. He didn't lay it all out step by step, but the clues he dropped made it clear. Something was off. Usher even admitted that back then, he didn't fully get what he was witnessing. But now, looking back, he knows it was seriously out of line.
I was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty.
And Diddy? Man, he really thought he could keep it smooth. But there's a clip still floating around from an old live stream where he seriously messed up. He started talking about how he and Usher used to wake up together back in the day. Then boom, he caught himself mid-sentence, and the whole vibe got real weird, real fast. He tried to laugh it off, saying Usher was around 10, and they'd argue over Frosted Flakes or some goofy breakfast stuff. But by that point, the slip had already hit hard. You could see the folks around him freeze up, faces tight, like they couldn't believe what just came out of his mouth.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world.
Yo, what the fuck did Puff just say?
But it gets even darker than anyone expected. Point One report claims Usher was sitting at a dinner table with Diddy, Neo, Jimmy Iovine, and Cassie. Yeah, that group. And right there at the table, in front of everyone, Diddy allegedly punched Cassie in the stomach. Not one person said a word, and Neo stayed silent. Jimmy didn't flinch. Even Usher didn't speak up. People who saw that report were quick to point out how wild that silence was, especially knowing Usher has a daughter of his own. Watching him freeze up like that in the face of something so violent, it shows just how deep Diddy's grip went. These artists weren't just staying quiet. They looked straight up mentally locked in, and honestly, maybe some of them still are. But now it looks like Usher's finally snapping out of that fog. Sources say this wasn't just random chaos. This was a long game, a twisted trail of control that Usher had to play along with just to survive in the industry. He was forced to act like the madness was normal, just to keep his spot. Over time, that fake normal turned into silence, and that silence followed him his whole career, with all that pain buried deep. But here's where things get even more twisted. Usher didn't just survive the mess, he ended up accidentally helping keep it going. After growing up under Diddy's watch, Usher later brought Justin Bieber into that same world. Justin was only 13 when it happened, the same age Usher had been when it all started for him. And in one interview, L.A. Reid even said that Usher brought Bieber to him as a gift. That's crazy. The same industry machine that nearly broke Usher, it was already reaching for the next kid. And nobody hit the brakes.
And Bieber walks into my office as a gift from Usher, who called a few minutes before and said, "Hey, I'm coming to your office at 3 o'clock. I have a very special gift for you." And he shows up with Justin Bieber.
But it didn't end there. Justin ended up spending unsupervised time with Diddy, even hitting parties with him when he was just 15. And yeah, there's real footage out there. Actual videos where Diddy's asking Justin some straight-up weird, uncomfortable question at one point. He even tells him not to talk about what happened during their time together. It's beyond unsettling.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher. Right?
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full. buck full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out some girls.
And it gets even more disturbing in one clip. Diddy's actually caught asking if Justin Bieber was wearing a wire, like he knew something shady might blow up down the line. And as for Usher, he's not dodging the heat anymore. People close to the situation are putting him on blast, saying he played a part in pulling Bieber into the same mess he barely escaped from himself. One person even said Usher was one of Diddy's first, and called out that by putting Justin in that kind of position, Usher might not be much different from Diddy. Now that old clips and stories are popping back up, folks are starting to connect the dots, and it's looking way bigger than just Usher or Bieber. Even Freddie P stepped up, claiming Diddy allegedly manipulated his own son, kept him close, cut him off from his real dad, and showered him with gifts. The message: Diddy didn't just protect himself. He raised the ones who could have exposed him, turned them into loyal shields without them even realizing it's like he built an entire system to keep the truth buried for good.
Act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
My number.
Yeah.
Here's where things get really wild. Even Diddy's relationship with his own mom got people giving him the side eye. There's a video out there where he kisses his 83-year-old mother on the lips, calls her Mom Dukes, jokes that she's single and ready to mingle, and even talks about taking her to a strip club. Yeah, for real, that actually happened. And get this, she was spotted wearing white nail polish. And if you've been keeping up with this case, you already know what that little detail might be pointing to.
It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know, like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours.
This whole saga just keeps digging deeper. Gene Deal, a former bodyguard and longtime industry insider, dropped a straight-up bombshell, claiming Diddy's own mother was running a so-called modeling agency that was actually a front for escort services. According to him, she didn't just influence Diddy's way of thinking. She was allegedly right there with him at those wild, infamous freak-off parties. That seriously disturbing Point One commenter even said, "She definitely always been a weirdo to me." 2, she probably tampered with him early on. And when you start lining it all up, Usher, Bieber, Cassie, Diddy's son, and now even his mother, it don't look random anymore. It started to look like a full-on system, a twisted setup that's been moving in silence for years, with each person connected to the next like pieces in a dark puzzle folks are only now beginning to piece together.
Introduce you to my mom. You call Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Ma?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Still, that didn't stop people from speaking up loud, and Clear Point One user said, "I think Usher started out as a victim, but he definitely became an enabler at the very least. Justin Bieber is definitely a victim. You can tell by how he moves as an adult. I just hope the full truth comes out and every person responsible gets held accountable." And honestly, they might be onto something. These claims are stacking up like puzzle pieces. And now the real question is it already too late for Usher to fix any of this? Or is this just the beginning of a reckoning that Diddy never saw coming? What's your take on all this madness? Hit the comments and let it fly. We're watching every move as this whole story keeps unraveling. If you're here for the raw truth, no filters, no sugarcoating, go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to lock in for the next drop. Trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. Catch you real soon.